What's going on, fellas? I got another video for you guys today. Today, it is all about shoulder content. I will say, I'm probably going to skip the most obvious, being, seated presses like you see me doing, standing presses, BTN presses, behind the neck presses, just because those are compound exercises, right? And those work a ton of muscles at once. That's the definition of being a compound exercise. And so we can probably extrapolate that they're going to work multiple functions of the shoulder. I'm going to try to make this video a little more niche, a little more shoulder accessories you can add into your workout, depending on what function of the shoulder you want to work out. So here you go. First up, we have the lock 3 maneuver. They were invented by some doctor. His name is Lock, so they're named after him. It's called 3 because it works 3 muscles in your shoulders, right? I really like these. I feel like, and this is not my opinion, I got this from the Squat University, page or whatever. I feel like these are the gold standard for warming up your shoulders before a bench. And it's essentially just doing shoulder raises, lying down with your arms in different positions. So either straight behind you, out to the side, straight ahead of you, palms up, palms down. And you don't think that it matters, it makes a big difference. I implore you to try these. You see my hands are 2.5, my shoulders are on fire. You don't need a lot of weight. These are really good, really good as a warm up before your bench. I like these, and I feel like they were the foundation of building good shoulders, helping me get more mind muscle awareness of those muscles in my back to help stabilize my shoulders, stabilize, mobilize, and strengthen. That's what this video is really about. We're talking about the shoulders, but that's what we're going to get from it if you stay till the end. Next up, we have the Lion external shoulder raise. This one is more about isolation and control of that rotator cuff and getting used to what that muscle feels like. It says it has a little bit of rear delt movement. I had to look up the muscles used because I just knew shoulder, I'm a meathead. But I feel like it's really good for your mobility. And lying down allows you to take the focus off standing and cheating with other muscles. It's all about that shoulder. You're going to want to go lightweight here. And I'm going to show you a variation in a second. Very similar, different uses. Before we do that, you're going to get to see me change sides. Look, you can see that back muscle working, reaching that arm all the way down, trying to get a big stretch, and then trying to come straight up with it. And so just going right into that next variation, it's going to be the same exercise, but we're standing, right? So we're standing, it changes the way our body functions. It says it's more functional. I know this is easier to cheat, and you can use more muscles. And I would say this variation is more about strengthening the muscle in conjunction with others, as opposed to just isolating it when you're lying down on your bench. And they're both useful, but they have different uses, right? Sometimes you do just want to build a little more muscle. I would say I would go with the lying version if my shoulders were feeling iffy. If they had it in them, I sit up straight, you bend those elbows 90 degrees, and you see me trying to go out. This is external raise. There is an internal raise where you start with the fist a little out and you turn in towards your waist. The exact opposite motion. They're both very useful. I just don't have the content for some reason. They're both very useful. They both work functions of your shoulder. And I implore you, just try. At least try one thing a week and see what you get out of each one. And see which one works for you. And I promise you, you're going to come away with stronger shoulders. Next up, we have Lou raises. They were created by, you guessed it, Lou F. These are a combination of front and side raises, except you go all the way up. Now, I love these one for the extra mobility because it really feels like a challenge. This is a real range of motion here from hip straight up. And I also like these because they just felt more natural. They felt more natural, and they were faster. They're faster than doing a front raise and then a side raise. Why not do them at once? Why not do them with expanded mobility? And I feel like, again, this especially, this and the lock 3, I'm going to give credit to these two more than the others. They really help with that shoulder mobility and strengthening the shoulder and just building that mind-muscle connection from front to back. You see me on my meathead stuff right here. These are just some barbell side raises. If you've been working out long enough, you know that there is a certain type of synergy when both hands are on the same implement, the same bar, as opposed to a dumbbell when you're separate. And so it kind of allows you to go a little heavier and just kind of squeeze and just focus. Other than that, they're okay. You can see me going overhead, I know. But for some reason, the mobility did feel a little different, obviously, because your arms are attached to a bar. Not my favorite. I only did these a couple times, and I was just trying to be a meathead and see how much I could shoulder raise. Next up, you see me doing some dumbbell lateral raises. These are okay, but again, they're just that, right? They're okay. I've done these for years. They did not prepare my shoulders enough to adequately bench. They are useful for building that big back, and that's what I was attempting to do, kind of pinching their shoulder blades up. I was trying to mimic that older bodybuilder style, but they're okay. Not my favorite. Moving on to some rear delt flies. This is the harder variation of the two. Again, we're going to work that rotator cuff, which is real important, as you can tell. We're going to work our delts in the back. We're going to work our rhomboids and a little bit of traps. And the only thing is, you can look at my arms. You can kind of see one hand is over the other. So I ended up doing like 8 reps one way and then switching the other hand on top. So I feel like they were both even. It's all good. I like this because the cables, as you know, provide constant tension, whereas it's not there with the free weights, and the machines make it too easy. But, you're standing up, it's a lot easier to use other muscles. So this is the variation where it's easier to cheat, honestly, more weight. If you ask me, this one, obviously, the machine, a little more isolated. I really like this for just focusing on the muscle again. It's nice to have machines, cables, variations to go back and forth. Some days you may not have this stability, but that doesn't mean you can walk away from the work. You don't have stability because you have a problem. You need to address it. And so machines give you that over cables, right? Machines are a lot more stability. I would argue they're safer. And it's just tricky, right? Sometimes you can push more weight on the machine. It really depends. I feel like with the cable raises, it's a little easier to push. I know I said the cables wrong. It's easier to push more weight with this version of the rear delt flies than the standing rear delt flies with the cables. But teach their own. Moving on, we have some face pulls. So you see me doing them. I'm low, bar is high, or rope is high, whatever. I like to switch it up. Sometimes I will be low. I'll sit down, crisscross applesauce, I think, and then just pull behind me a little more. I will switch it up. Sometimes I like to stand up and work it from the bottom. I'm sure you know, again, you've been doing this a while, different angles. They might hit the same muscle, but they're going to hit it in a different way. They're going to provide a different benefit. So if you can switch it up, do it. Next, we have some cable shoulder raises. To be honest, they are probably the superior version of the shoulder raise over the dumbbell. If you're just doing to that shoulder height, of course you can go all the way up. I wouldn't employ that with the cables because that constant tension can get a little tricky. But these are nice for keeping tension on the shoulders. You get a nice big stretch because if you see, you kind of go a little bit behind the hip and then start up. Now the only thing, look, you see me hitting my shoulder? Don't do that meathead stuff. I did that and slightly inflamed my shoulder and my rotator cuff when I first started doing these. I had to learn the hard way. I'm not as young as I used to be, and I can't keep doing the same meathead things. But they are good for a pump. They get a big stretch. You see that as a big range of motion. Nice variation. Now we're trending away from the typical shoulder exercises where they're the primary movers, and now those shoulders might be secondary. This is the dip, but I still feel like these dips are a nice way to strengthen the shoulders. Pressing is really the meat and juice of your shoulder growth. And so you just want to get different pressing. I feel like dips, they let your shoulders get in a very different position, and it's nice. Not nice. We have some flies. I know these aren't going to help your shoulders too much. We're talking like tertiary at this point, but just anything, right? You're already going to be on the rear delt machine. Flip over, get a little more shoulder and chest work. Who cares? And I forgot to do the pitch. Well, if you like this video, thanks you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe if you found it useful. Maybe even comment. The algorithm loves all that. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you can implement something in this video and get them shoulders up, boy.